che comunque il calcio è imprevedibile e le cose non sono mai scontate, quindi è anche la bellezza, no, di questo sport.
Io rappresentavo per questa squadra, era quello che non mollava mai, quello che doveva fare stare sempre su il morale, ma io mi ci trovavo bene perché sono sempre stato uno che mi piaceva dare fuoco ai miei compagni, caricarli prima delle partite.
Il mio sogno di Severato è uno dei sogni dei bambini, di tanti bambini.
Il gol è un qualcosa per la gente che riusciamo a fare diventare matti, riusciamo a fare diventare felici e contenti.
Con questa maglia devo veramente fare una performance diversa perché sto rappresentando.
Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and if you've just about to sleep, good night. But thanks for tuning in to another episode of Milanistas 360. So only two of us with one of the best co-hosts you could ever have on the podcast. So we have Lab Gorilla here with us.
Good morning, buongiorno, buonasera. Good morning, good evening, ciao tutti, hello everyone. Yeah, Hasni, thanks for the lovely intro. As always, you do the best ones. Morning, Fahadinho. Thank you for joining us. I have no idea what your time zone is. Ciao, cacciavit. Awesome, man. Let's see how many live viewers we get today. So we've got a hell of a lot to get through.
Yeah, so it's been quite a busy week, right, for in the Milan world. A lot going on.
Is it ever not? Is it ever not? It kind of reflects, we were just talking about this before we started, it kind of reflects our lives, doesn't it? We're busy in our lives, very busy in our lives, and Milan's busy causing chaos for us at the same time. So I was at a really massive conference Monday to Wednesday this week, exhausted on the Wednesday, turned on the TV and watched that. Which is just, we're going to talk about it. Actually, Hasni, I was going to say that, in my opinion, it's almost a good thing to have had a few days to kind of think about the game and what it means, and actually seeing the media's reaction. We can take more of a kind of stand back and have a bit of a view of it. I'm getting a bit of feedback, Hasni, so maybe mute your mic. There you go. Perfect, mate. Perfect. Oh, and the other thing we should say, Hasni's got a mother of all storms going on where he's living. And earlier on when I was talking to him, you heard the crack of thunder. So it's awesome. I love that kind of stuff, but ASMR people will love it. Carmelo, ciao. Buongiorno. Yeah, let's talk about the train. Carmelo. We are ready to go.
All right, so let's pull up to the first station and where we're at.
Yeah, so the train is delayed, Carmelo. Am I still on the train, on the hype train I was talking about? We're definitely still at the station. So I think Shane is still on, if I remember. If you were to look inside, you, Carmelo, would be on the platform, but we've been delayed in our hype. So let's move to the next slide. So let's go straight to the first game. Feyenoord, first leg, knockout. We lose it 1-0. It was in Rotterdam, in the Kuip Stadium, and it was a night where the MVP was Paxao. I don't know if that is how you pronounce it properly. If anybody, Hasni, if you know how to pronounce it better than me, please have a go. Feel free.
I don't, but we'll probably learn how to pronounce his name when we sign him.
Yeah. We probably will. It's usually people put in that kind of performance and then walk off. Shane. Oh, well, let's give an update on Shane. Shane is off in a mountain somewhere in Spain getting shot. Sounds absolutely insane. He's playing, what is it that you guys call? We call it paintball in the UK. I think some other places call it airsoft.
Oh, airsoft, yes.
Yeah, airsoft. Okay. So yeah, good luck to him putting on sweaty boiler suits and sweaty face masks that other people have put all of their smell into. It's going to be amazing for him. And actually, I should say, get well soon, Nico. He's not well at the moment. He's got a bit of the flu. and he's having to take care of himself. So all the best, Nico. Right. So the game. Basically, the game kicked off. We went up one end, had a shot on goal. They started running at us. This guy on the left wing was taunting basically Walker most of the evening, and they cut in, took a shot, and scored. Sounds like a really simple thing, but it wasn't really. It was a terrible goalkeeping mistake. So let's have a look at the lineup, Hasni, that we had for the game. First, a question for you is: did you have any particular concerns when you look at this lineup, or were you actually happy that we had the so-called Fantastic Four out at the same time?
Yeah, I was quite optimistic, and if anyone here remembers what I said last week, is that I thought that we pretty much had this in the bag. I mean, it'd be strongest lineup. We seem to be quite okay coming out of the game before it, and yeah, Jimenez. I guess he's working hard at trying to justify how much that we spent on him, and so far it's there have been returns on that. So I wasn't generally worried, but then, as everyone knows, we had to give it to them, right?
Yeah. Well, personally, when I looked at that lineup, I thought, well, that's about as strong as he's going to get. I know some commentators, hindsight, Krunic, Hasni. Hindsight is 2020, isn't it? It's easy to look back at the game and say it was too attacking. We were going for too much. These guys are too new put together. I think the majority of the fan base was actually quite happy to see Pulisic, Felix, Leao, and Santi Jimenez together up there. In the back, you had Chow that had stepped in and Pavlovic. Remember, we didn't have Musa available because of his stupid red card against Zagreb as well. And Walker was a right back, which is obviously going to be a first choice. In fact, there wasn't really much other choice because if you think about it, Alex Jimenez was not available because he can't be named on the list. He's not a homegrown player. So that was the limitation. Now, on their squad, Haj Musa was giving us hell throughout the game. Barbosa de Pacquiao gave us hell. I mean, he was out of this world for the game. He made him look amazing. But on the subs list, this is the thing that you have to look at. Hasni, the thing that I think I would like everyone to keep an eye on is look at the number of subs. Just look at the number of subs that are on there and look at the players mentioned. There's a reason why these players are in there. You see there's quite a few Italians and a few homegrowns, and it was to enable those non-homegrowns to be able to be on the first 11. It's a bit of a mess, if we're completely honest, and it's a very limited mess. So we'll look ahead to the future in terms of the next game in a minute, but you see how we're left short by the way that the club has been put together. Okay, so Hasni, then I looked at the stats because I was searching for something that kind of indicated. Personally, when I watched the game, when I listened to the game, there really was nothing that stood out to me as in they are superior to us. The biggest thing is something that's almost intangible, which is that wanting to win more than the other team. It's that hunger, that grit and determination. They were playing at home. They wanted to do something for their fans. But if you look at the stats, really honestly, there wasn't anything that made Feyenoord kind of say, oh yeah, they demolished us on the night. The only stat that counts is this one, which is goals conceded, 1 versus none. Saves, Feyenoord 6, Milan 0. That's really it. And you have to say it. Couple of things I want to highlight about the game. Hasni, what do you think about how the players turned up for the match in terms of the kit?
Well, I I think we took it quite easy, and I want to go all the way back many years ago. So I had a little bit of expectation, but when we played against teams in the Dutch league, if everyone remembers, when we played against PSV, it was in December, if I'm not mistaken, and it was actually a friendly. But the one thing that playing in the Dutch league guarantees you is that you're always going to get an atmosphere, and these teams in that league, they're really going for it, because I think when they go up against a team in the top 5 league, this is probably as good as it gets when it comes to exposure. And a lot of their players want to probably market themselves and to show that, okay, come buy me for a big amount. This is how we got Jimenez, right? I mean, if Jimenez
Yeah.
wasn't doing it in the Champions League, we probably would never have bought him. So that, coupled with how our players, and I don't want to speak about attitude, but you can see whether we really want it or not. And a team that wants it more often than not gets a win. So yeah, I mean, with our players, strong enough lineup, and you go back all the way to the preview for the Inter game. I did say it is that we're at our strongest when teams underestimate us. But when we start to underestimate other teams, we probably at our weakest. So this
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, a lot
That's
of the
actually a
shots.
great point.
Yeah, a lot of the shots that I saw from João Felix, I know he was trying, but those aren't the type of shots that you take to score the banger goals and to bring the score line up. Those are the shots you do in training. Test it out a bit, put a bit of power, place it, but it didn't work. So yeah, player wise, we should have won it, didn't win it. Got to do the job at home.
Yeah. No, those are some great points. As you said, that is the shop window, isn't it? When they go up against teams like us. Carmelo, you're absolutely right. Intensity, pace, desire made all the difference. Kachavit, no hunger. I agree. I mean, this is really what we're talking about. And some of it started pre-game. People looked, what are Milan wearing tonight? They're wearing that I don't know. You call that the grape jersey with the mint green badge, which I've complained about many times. The thing I hadn't quite tweaked is these pink socks, and yeah, Theo turned up with his pink hair. There's rumors that Sergio Conceição was really not impressed because he's quite a taskmaster. He's quite strict, but he put in, and so many others put in, what can only be described as a performance where they thought they could just play, they could just turn up and win. And against teams like this, the baseline has to be you outwork them. It simply has to be the baseline. Okay.
John, on that point,
Yeah.
What Conceição said or what was reported inside the media. So we've tried a few managers now. Yeah, we've had different styles. Pioli, the man manager, he's quite the dad, if you want to call it. So I'm sure he coddles the players a lot. It didn't work towards the end. We had Fonseca, who I think is a little bit between Conceição and Pioli, and now we have Conceição on that very extreme end, who's what I think very harsh, very emotional. He will shout at his players. Look at what happened to Calabria. He'll fight them in the open. So which one of these styles actually works for this team? It seems like nothing works. You're either too soft, you don't get anything. You want to play it safe, both sides, be neither here nor there, not going to get anything. Too harsh, you're also not going to get anything. So what's wrong with in terms of the attitude and mentality? I mean, what drives these players? And I thought all the way back since COVID, I mean, Pioli, and he was lucky, he had that reset when we had the COVID lockdown. So 3 months, the players, he had a good talking down to them. Everyone trains at home. Every other team is a different stage of preparation. It's a big thing that happened around the world. But he managed to get the best out of the players at that particular time. Now, I don't know what works. So I'm lost there.
Yeah, no, again, a very good point, Husney. I think the players that have been there for a while have become used to a very soft approach. I think a lot of it as well is about what you have inside and the hunger that you have inside of yourself. And we spoke about this kind of man management approach where some people respond to being criticized, some people do not. So, the best managers are those that understand how to get the best out of players individually. I think Conceição appears to be, across the board, quite a stern manager. And some fans rightfully say, maybe these players need this kind of a forceful approach. It does look like I think a couple of players in the summer are probably going to fall by the wayside, and they're not responding to his approach very well at all. There's going to be a discussion about Theo, I think, going forward. All the Italian media are reporting his contract runs out 2026. He's been avoiding renewing it. He's been avoiding talking about it, and the club need to cash in on him. Hence the whole discussion about the Como offer for 40-50 million euros for him. And his performances lately have really dropped off. So, yeah. Carmelo says, Fonsei which is a interesting fusion, and got carried away by the Fab Four myth. That formation showed arrogance by him and little knowledge of the opponent. Your opinion, Carmelo, is absolutely fine, and it's true to say that probably if you were playing FIFA and you were selecting people on stats, that is how you would have selected that starting 11. I'm not sure, in terms of hard work and determination, maybe it wasn't the right thing to do. But if you look at that bench, there wasn't a lot there. And we're left that way because of the team makeup. You could only name 3 players to bring up new, and the 3 players are Walker, Felix, and Santi. Right. So this was the first goal. Again, Paxao, this is a theme throughout the night. We had just gone on an attack. We were countered. Paxao took Walker literally walked him. He just striding backwards, trying to guess where the hell this kid was going. And he just took a shot, potluck shot. Now, if you look, Manyan had the position covered. Look, his near post is absolutely covered. The ball's coming towards him. He is already down at this point. However, he did some weird move. In Italy, we call this a papera, which is a complete kind of mess. And the ball bounced underneath his body. It bounced up into the net. Here's another beautiful view of it. It's kind of the impossible. The ball goes underneath him and bounces up. I just got this in. Absolute clown show. Again, later on, in the previous episode, we said Posty did a fantastic job. But here his teammate saved us again. Postini did a fantastic job, but now his mate got involved. I don't know if you're going to call him Baresini. I don't know what. Oh, that's a good one, actually. Oh, my God. I came up with that instantly. Baresini. Oh, my God. We gotta get this one, man. Oh, wow. Fantastic. So, again, Paxao cut in, took a shot. And, he just thought, I'm not really going to stretch my arm out. If you see, his arms are down. And that ball hit the bar quite hard. Cross Baresini. Yes, very good. And here's another shot of that view. This is what we saw a lot of that night, guys. Paxao just running straight at Walker. Now, Hasni, I wanted your opinion on this. Listen, Walker's 34. He is going to do a great job in Serie A against most opponents. But when you've got a young, really fast attacker, you cannot surely expect this guy to be able to, on his own, completely block that channel. What was your opinion on that?
I saw Walker. It was tough for him, and I don't think it's going to get any easier in the league as well, because you're always going to come against faster players, and you play in Europe, especially against these. I can't really say they're a small team, but in a way they're not as grand in stature as us. But you're going to come out against players like this, and I don't think he can last much longer against this sort of opponent. Nothing positive to. It's okay, I guess. I mean, I would have expected much worse had we had Calabria in a position right now. But Walker is definitely that upgrade. But it's going to be tough. Always going to be tough. And this leads me to my other point to say is that I continue to be confused about the formations that we're up now. I don't know if we make the changes to say that, okay, during the game, we will switch it to a 4-4-2. On paper, we're still going on with the 4-2-3-1. I thought when Conceição came, he's going to implement the 4-3-3 or 3-4-3. There's so many formations coming up. And I think he needs to tweak or really get this team to play in a formation that protects players who have certain vulnerabilities, like Walker, yeah? So if Walker is going to be in that back four and he's always bombing forward, he's going to have to chase the opponent winger back. Whether he's going to have the stamina and the energy to do it, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking about this, and I thought Walker is an upgrade for sure. He has got that experience. He has got that command of being able to communicate with the back four. I think personally he works better with Tomori next to him on the back four. But also, I think Walker, if you're going up against extremely fast players like this Paxao guy, and who's willing to commit, because the moment this kid went at him, he realized I've got his number and I can do this over and over again throughout the night. And he was taking runs. And if you see, Walker had no backup, and this is a kind of a discussion where I suspect that Conceição will deploy Musa on that wing because of his engine and the fact that he can run back and help Walker. So I think in the next game, possibly you will see Musa alongside Walker to try and shut down that flank. What's your opinion on that, Hasni?
I would say yes, but defensively, I have very little trust for Musa whether he can do the job. So if you remember our Scudetto winning season, and this is a very clear example, whenever we have players, wingers that commit to the front, the CDM should actually drop down and cover the space behind. This is what I saw with Cassie covering for Theo. When Theo made the runs, Cassie would actually drop back a bit. I don't know who's doing that job now. It seems everyone wants to score. Even for fun, I seem a little bit too advanced. And in the case of João Felix, the game yesterday, he was a little bit deep. So I don't know how Conceição is going to figure this out, but yeah, I agree with you. There needs to be another player that pairs up with Walker, 4 players just like this. We did it against Napoli a few seasons back in the Champions League. Against Kivica, you're gonna have to do that. But whether it's Musa, I think we need someone else.
Yeah, I mean, in the longer term, of course, we need someone else. But I think we have to think, about the next game realistically. I think we have to try and shut down that flank. You cannot leave Walker on his own like this. He's not going to be able to cope with this kid on the break. Right. Now, we saw a hell of a lot of this. I know my image is currently masking, but what this was Walker trying to hold the ball, trying to walk the ball back, and actually getting it dispossessed with a lot of midfielders at Fofana and others who had the ball nicked off them, and the counterattack began. We were basically being perfectly counterattacked when we went forward over and over again. And
by the way, John,
yeah,
for that shot,
yeah.
I think that was the one where what's his name, Paxiao.
Yeah.
He took a long distance shot and tried to snipe the goal, right?
Yes, he did. He did.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is, he had a striker on the opposite side of the field that he could actually have passed it to continue the movement, but he went for it, which hopefully they will pay for later on by not having scored it. So let's read here a comment from Pardinho. He says Conceição is trying to figure out the best formation to fit the team's profile based on the current players' characteristics. They need more time. And that is a completely fair point. We have to consider the fact that, especially the guys at the front, they have arrived really at the last day of the transfer window, right? That's end of January, and we're just in the middle of February. So maybe one of the things that we absolutely have to do is, yes, there's a hype train. There is a hype train, but that hype train is delayed because those players are not yet used to either a formation or playing together. They don't yet know each other well enough and each other's movements well enough. So the correct thing to have done maybe is, leaves on the line, the train's on a delay. And so we're just going to wait and watch how the system works out. But yeah, the reality is we're in a battle, we're in a fight here, because the fight for top four, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is extremely tough. We've got some very serious clubs out there, but also the fight to remain in the Champions League is very tough. And again, we're going to look into this in a minute. But one of the things I wanted to highlight, Husney, is Italian media. We went from Fab Four, amazing, what a transfer window. In fact, the most extreme one was, can Milan win the Champions League? We go from that to inspiegabili, unexplainable. And l'importante è che non sia mai colpa di loro. And it's a picture of a management and says the important thing is that it's never their fault. Then the next one, esperimento fallito, experiment failed. Before the game yesterday, the new shirt released, and again, tension and players missing. And then the next one, I dubbi di Sergio, which means Sergio's doubts. And then after that loss, ci sono cascati di nuovo. They've fallen again. The players have fallen again. The same problems in, what do you call it? Atteggiamento is like how you put yourself on the pitch and how you apply yourself. There you go. That's the word. So you see how the media is swinging from one side, and this is Milan media, Husney. This is not even, that media that's against us. This is our own media. We swing from one extreme to the other, and I think it's just important to keep a sense of reality on all of this, and the fact that we are not a complete project, and we are not yet seeing anything like what we hopefully will be able to see. But that's a hope. It's not in any way, a certainty, because we don't know that Conceição will do the job. We actually don't know that. We do know that some of these players have in their locker incredible ability, but we don't know if they're going to be able to put it on the pitch together. So what's your opinion, Husney, on how the media's reacted?
Yeah, of course they're doing their job, but all this is just adding a lot of fuel to the fire. So we have problems. We have actual structural problems within the club, and the media, of course, doing their job, trying to what's a nice way of saying it, trying to poke the bear a little bit, trying to get a reaction. But all the club needs to do is get things in order, and they're short on the pitch, and all this goes away. And it's only going to get worse once we start dropping points, when we start losing, when we have all this drama about the hair color and all that. The media is going to go into overdrive. So I don't think this is something that will go away. We just have to concentrate on the performances. I hope, and I really hope, that the players aren't really taken too much aback by all this negative news, because there's still many games left to play. So yeah, it's not good for morale. They just have to power through.
Yeah, I agree. So we move on to the next game. But before we do that, let's just deal with a couple of comments on the chat. First of all, Carmelo, reality is we're on a train to nowhere. Again, Carmelo, as a fan, we want Milan to win, right? We want Milan to win. We've all got issues. I mean, I have openly said I've got a big problem with how the squad is built. I've got a big problem with the fact that perhaps you can say there's no Grinta in this squad for a very good reason. And we all know what I think that reason is. And actually, by the way, when's the last time we've seen Milan play with their own actual shirts, with their actual colours, team colours? And this is part of the reason why I picked this absolutely unbelievable next shirt release. Again, marketing, ownership, just trying to rake money from the fan base. Who knows if they've even said limited edition? I don't know. Was this to celebrate something, Husney? these colors? Is something to do with Africa, I guess?
I don't know about that. I didn't read about the color scheme, but yeah, we probably expect this every year. The fourth kit is always the marketing kit. But what's different compared to last season? Last season we had what's that brand? Kosh, I think. If that's how you pronounce it. So they have quite decent shirt design. So now we've gone fully with the off white. I don't know, maybe for off white they're willing to share a bit more of the shirt sales and revenue. Maybe marketing wise it's better. But yeah, as one comment put it online, which I remember until today, first in marketing, seventh in the league. That's all you need to know.
That is a great comment. First in marketing, seventh in the league. I love that. Kachavit, to talk about your rumors. Yeah, the rumor is that Theo's going to be sold no matter what happens. The rumor is that Conceição and Ibrahimovic are not agreeing with each other, and that Conceição will potentially leave in the summer. I mean, he signed the deal, which is a very low amount of money until the summer, and I'm not sure he's enjoying his time at the moment. But let's just, these are things that are all rumors. We can't do anything about them. We just got to keep an eye on how things are. But the club, will probably have to raise a bit of money to spend in the summer. There's a weird rumor that they want to spend the Theo money on keeping Felix, which is a stupid thing to say even now. The guy's been. How can you say that you want to commit everything, so much money towards a player like Felix? It makes no sense to me. Does it make sense to you, Hasni?
Not really. I mean, Felix, no doubt, he's not a bad player. And I've always said this, and it's been several seasons now. We need to fix our defense. I don't know why we're so focused on the attack, like we've never scored a goal in the past 10 or 20 games. I don't think we have an issue in the attack. Defense, guys, the defense, we need to fix that. I'll be honest in saying it, open in saying it. Tomori, I don't think he's good enough anymore. He's probably dropped so far. I don't know. I don't trust him as a starter sometimes. Gabia is okay. Ciao, I don't know. Still young, not seeing it. So I really think we need to fix the defense. And if Theo leaves, who are we going to get to replace him? Theo doesn't have a deputy now. I don't know who his deputy is. Is it Jimenez? Jimenez is playing on right back now, it seems. Walker is there. What happened when Walker gets injured? He's 34, by the way. So defense really needs to be fixed. So I just hope that is and will remain the focus until we can start to string together several clean sheets.
Yeah, I mean, so I think your confusion comes from the fact that we tried to sell a lot of our defenders, even during the transfer window, to raise funds. Carmelo, you're off to work. Best of luck, mate. Have a good day. I just find it a bit of a strange one where, as I said, Tomori, I don't know. I don't know if you'll get more out of Tomori by putting him next to Walker, maybe, because they have, they've known each other for longer. But let's see. One of the things about the Verona game, so I watched this game. Hasni, did you watch this game?
Yeah, I made the mistake of thinking it was at 1 a.m. over here. It's actually at 4 a.m. So thanks.
No,
to the league.
No, Hasni, no. So here the case is, this was the starting lineup. So we had Manyan, Walker, Gabia, Chow, Theo Hernandez, Reindeer, Fofana. And on the right, we had Musa, Felix, and then Sotil on the left, and Jimenez. Santi. Now, the reason we went like this is because I can tell you we have players who are simply not eligible to play in the Champions League fixtures, like Sotil, for example. And so the manager thought, let's give players rest where I possibly can. So let's give Pulisic a bit of rest. Let's give Leao a bit of rest. And I think the intention was, it's only Verona. We're going to be able to rest some players. We should get away with it. I think at halftime, these were the scores. Musa was by far, in my opinion, the worst player. He had got himself a yellow card, which was unbelievable. A Verona player just got away from him and he pulled him back, like similar to the kind of crap that he's pulling all the time now. I don't know why a player with an engine like his feels the need to make such stupid decisions So they're footballing decisions. He's choosing to do these things and get these yellow cards. And I worry because I think he's a constantly a red card waiting to happen. On the other side of things, Hasni, he kept finding himself in very good positions in front of goal. And, there was a chance just before half time where really honestly couldn't even put it on target. I think his ball is still traveling towards the moon. But it's kind of one of those where he gets himself in those positions and he needs to really sort himself out. He needs to start to kind of like Reindeer last year, find your shooting boots because you're getting yourself in those positions. You're clearly the player that's entering into those gaps. If he could put a shot on target, we might change a little bit of our opinion, but he's making defensively very, very poor decisions. What was your opinion at halftime, Hasni, before we move forward?
Yeah, same as yours. I want to speak a little bit about Musa. Yeah? So online also a lot of comments about this player. In what scenario or on what basis is he a right winger? I don't know. We spent money on Chukwueze, by the way. Why is Musa on right wing? This is why, and I'm starting to draw parallels to like a utility player that we all know, which I honestly don't get it. He was never a right winger. I think when we brought him, his intention for the midfield. I remember Pioli put him on the right wing sometimes. Fonseca continued, and now Conceição also put him on right wing. Is it because we have zero trust in Chukwueze now? But this is why we had these issues. He's played out of position, also not good enough. I can't explain all these picks. But I do want to make a positive. I thought Sotil did quite all right. So Sotil, no high expectations, came from Fiorentina. Of course, good for the squad list. I thought he did quite all right. But then again, we're playing against Verona, and drum roll a little bit. Verona, they aren't really a mid-table club. Nor are they fighting for top four. So we should have brushed them aside. I mean, with the type of players that we have, we should have brushed them aside. But we can't. We have to wait for Liao to come on. So, maybe we'll speak about that a little bit after the end of the game. But yeah, at halftime, disappointing. We should have at least had a goal to get the engine warmed up, but we didn't.
Yeah, no, I think the idea was, let's start with this. It should be strong enough. We should do it. Okay, or left wing, right wing. We've got subs on. They're not. Let's have a look at Sotil. Sotil can't play in the Champions League. So let's just see how he does. And very, very average. Very poor performance at halftime. So these were the proactive subs, and I highlighted two of them, which were Alex Jimenez comes on for Kyle Walker. Again, at this point, the manager thought, I need to give Walker rest because I need him for the Feyenoord game. And then he thought, okay, we need to do something to unlock this opponent, and we need to try Rafael Leao. I think it was never intended for Leao to come on, Hasni. I think the idea was that it was going to be enough, but it wasn't. So, a couple of mentions that I'd like to put on this. We won the game 1-0, of course, in the 75th minute. Leao, the moment he came on, the game changed. The Verona were pinned back, and we just kept trying. And I'll tell you now, guys, I put my money where my mouth is. I put a bet on Milan to win at about the 70th minute because I was very, very sure that we were going to get the breakthrough. And sure enough, it came. But it was obvious from watching that it was going to happen. So a couple of things I want to say. Alex Jimenez, a right back. In my opinion, he put on a really good performance, really solid performance. And again, this is an indictment on management, on the fact that this kid was left in the Futuro for half a season. Clearly, this kid is good enough to be a backup right back. In fact, there can be an argument that this kid will potentially be a realistic alternative to Kyle Walker going forward. That's just my opinion. Now, the other thing on Rafael Leao, there was a stat yesterday that I think Kim shared with us, which is that Leao has had the most assists over the last 3 or 4 seasons in Serie A. This is, I understand he's a frustrating player, but when you see what he did, when Verona, as you said, Husney, they're there to be beaten. You needed someone who had power and pace, who went at their defenders to unlock the chances. And he did. He did exactly that. Does he frustrate me? Hell, he frustrates me because I think he's capable of so much more. I don't think you're ever going to get that from him. It's just not how he works, I think. I think we've seen enough of him over the years to know he is not going to just always do this. But for yesterday, I'm going to give him praise. I think he might have got MVP, hasn't he? Correct me if I'm wrong, at the end of the day. And Santi Jimenez, as a striker, he was there, man on the spot to tap it in. I think, was it a header? I can't remember. Was it a chip and then he headed it in?
I think
Can't quite remember.
it was almost like a karate pass. You see the Leao's like it swung
Yeah.
just to knock it right in front in the face of goal.
Yeah. So, but you have to put your body in that position. And that's a striker's instinct. And so he did the right job there. So I'm impressed with what Leao did at halftime. I don't think it was intentional by the manager. I think he was hoping to be able to rest the guy. Now, this is going to be a graphic that we're going to try and hopefully repeat every week. Santi Jimenez now has 2 goals and 1 assist already. So well done. Keep it up. We need you to just keep powering forward and continuing to make these goal creations or goal chances. Now, one thing, Husney, I wanted to talk about was the post game. This is quite embarrassing. Post game, Zlatan Ibrahimovic for some reason comes out and just look at his title, Senior Advisor Redbird, and he starts answering questions to the press. He looked like a cat that's been, someone's tried to drown or whatever, and they've just dragged him out. He looks like he's been dragged through the trash. I don't know. I think someone said he looks like a pimp, but I was like, what is going on here? What was this? Why was he even talking? And Husney, these days when he talks, I just don't listen anymore. Did you see any of this?
I didn't, but it's starting to become quite a regular occurrence that Conceição just doesn't want to do. I mean, I know he said it early on that he doesn't really like doing these interviews, but it's strange for a club like ours. It's really strange to see the managers is not showing up.
To me, it's unprofessional to have someone who is not actually part of Milan. He's just a senior advisor to Redbird. That's his job title, and he's coming out and talking instead of the manager. I think it's unprofessional. I really do. You either don't have anything and just have the players come forward, or just don't have Ibrahimovic, honestly. I just wish this guy would just close his mouth, honestly. But one of the things that's been so obvious is that there's a lot of tension. It's the reason I mentioned these words. The players, even when they're into, they're very nervous, angry, and I actually feel the atmosphere around the club is quite negative at the moment. So here's the headline around Magnan. So he gave an interview post-game, and no joke, it says here, Magnan litiga in diretta e abbandona l'intervista. So it says here he had an argument live on air and he left the interview. So people were asking him about, how he was, how he saw the game. And then they asked him about his contract. And when that question came, he just put the mic down and walked off. I don't know why this is happening. Just one small mention as well. I was a little bit surprised at his Italian. I don't think he speaks a lot of it. And I guess at the club you don't really need to. But to say Pulisic, he's been there for quite a few years, and to say that Pulisic's Italian is far better, it's quite interesting to me. It's quite interesting. Okay, so here then is the league table, Husney. We have made that gap up to 5th place. Juventus are only
We've
2
made
points
it, or
clear.
they've made it for us. What do you think?
Oh well, okay. So let's talk about some of the matches here, guys. Bologna, what did they do? To remind me again, didn't they draw? It was a last minute draw, wasn't it, with Bologna? So they didn't win. Fiorentina, I can't remember what they did. I think let's have a look at the results, Hasni. Hang on.
Yeah,
You
Fiorentina, they
talk about the
lost
league
to
table,
Inter the recent game.
right?
So yeah, I mean, it would have been great if they drew with Inter because they had beat them in the game before, but they
Yeah.
didn't. I guess Inter they finally decided to show up. Lazio drew with Napoli, so 2 points dropped for each for
Ah,
both. Yeah, so Lazio
yeah,
for the top four place, and crucially for Napoli because now Inter have a chance of actually overtaking them. And
yeah.
surprisingly, Atlanta drew with Cagliari.
Yeah, that was a big one. But now, oh, so okay, Bologna beat Torino 3-2. So I correct myself. On Friday, they beat Torino 3-2. Wasn't it that the last goal came? Yeah, it was an own goal in the 90th minute. So it was really last minute winner. Um, Great. I mean, well done to Bologna. So they're there with us, and that is the game in hand probably that we're going to have to play, isn't it? That's going to be tough. Then you've got Lazio and Napoli that drew, and I think Lazio did a fantastic job in drawing that. I'm getting feedback again, hasn't he? So here we've got Lazio scoring the equaliser in the 87th minute by Dia, assist from Zaccagni. So well done to Lazio. You know, they're proving themselves they'll be serious. I don't know if we could have gotten a draw like that against Napoli. It's quite impressive, to be honest. So I think that's a point gained for them, if I'm honest. And they're sitting at 46 points, 5 points clear of us. But we do have that game in hand. However, it's against Bologna. That's going to be very difficult. Um, as you said, Fiorentina lost. So let's see. Fiorentina have Como today at 11:30. So let's see how that goes for the 25th league game. And Juventus have Inter Milan tonight, 7:45 my time. So that's a big clash. So that'll be quite helpful if you're gonna hate me saying this, hasn't it? Isn't it? It'd be quite helpful if Milan Inter beat Juve.
Let's just hope for a draw. I mean, a draw wouldn't be too bad as well.
It's true. A draw wouldn't be too bad either. But they do have a better goal difference than us. So I think the gap is almost there. There is a point at the moment. At the moment, this table is absolutely correct in saying that Italy has 4 places in the Champions League, not 5. Fifth place at the moment is Europa League. So, should we? Have you got anything to say about the league table, Hasni? Or
Yeah, I just want to add one thing is that if we're looking at the objectives that I'm sure the management set for Conceição, regardless of whether he had a hand in how things are completely or not, he's getting there. Yeah, so he's closing the gap to fourth place. And I'll keep repeating it, not all through his efforts and the teams as well. Other teams also have a mixed bag of results, but we're getting there. So should we, and I'll say it, some miracle end up on fourth place at the end of the season, yeah, I guess a lot of signs will point to him staying.
Yeah, I think it's all dependent on top 4. I really do. I agree. It's kind of a no choice, no option. We are a last chance saloon. We have to make top 4. You can't rely on top 5, and we'll explain that in a minute. Cacciavite, of course, it would be good for Fiorentina to lose. So absolutely, would love to see that. Como could genuinely do them. It's a big risk game. It's a tough game, actually. So yeah, we're keeping an eye on that. So the Feyenoord game, yes, we're going 1-0 down. We're playing on the 18th. One of the things that I just think young defenders are so stupid sometimes in the comments that they come up with. So this is Givaro Reed. He's come out to the Italian press and said Leao non è così veloce, l'atmosfera del decoy ha aiutato a distrarlo, which basically means Leao, he's not that fast. The atmosphere in the stadium helped to distract him. If you need anything to get Leao riled and you get more motivation, you stupid opponent, you stupid player, you don't do things like this. And this is something that you learn as you get, a little bit more mature in your ability. I would not be surprised if in the next game Leao absolutely walks Reed and teaches him a lesson. Um, I genuinely never understand why players do this before a second leg. You know, you've got a team that is struggling in Milan to get their own motivations up. So what do? Help them out. Really silly. Really, really silly. Yeah, what's your comment on this, Husney?
Well, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, John, but it might also not work in our favor. I mean, if that's what we expect Liao's reaction to be, I mean, all well and good, but Liao might just be Liao and decide that, okay, fine. I mean, I'm also not going to put in too much of a shift as well.
Yeah,
So I
why,
hope so.
why, Husney? Why would you come out with a comment like this? It can only do one thing. It's not going to make Liao go, oh my God, no, you've got my number. It's definitely not going to do that, is it?
I don't know, John. This team, when we expect them to do well, they don't. When we think they're probably out of it, they pull something out of the bag. It's difficult to say. So I'm there's probably going to be a reaction, but not purely on this comment, but more on the fact that we're playing at home and it's only a 1 goal difference. Had it been a two goal difference, I mean, comments like this, Liao probably deserves it. By the way.
Oh yeah. Do you know something? I'm really glad that the away goals rule doesn't exist anymore, because we finished the away game, and imagine if we had come back on 1-0 down. This is the kind of thing where if they had scored a goal in this in Syria, it would have been the end, because we would have needed 3 goals. So actually, this is my expectation. I expect our team to pull it out of the fire again. I genuinely think that Milan will. I mean, as we said, if we get knocked out by Feyenoord, and many channels have spoken about this, the fact that we've taken their best striker, the fact that they just changed their manager. But the manager that walked in apparently had some involvement in the youth system, so he knows the players, he knows the system. And by the way, I think his name was something to do with like, oh God, the Feyenoord standing coach had a hilarious name, and I thought, oh my God, Furlani would love him. It was like, hang on, Feyenoord stand-in coach. He's something like something Sheets.
Boss chart.
Boss chart. Well done, mate. Pascal Boss chart. I mean, Furlani would be like, oh, right now. Yeah. We had a comment. Furlani has an orgasm for Felix, the same way he had for Xerxes. I think for Boss chart, he'll be even greater. Imagine he's like, I want that guy in my club. Get rid of Conceição now. Bring in Boss chart. I need Boss chart. That would be quite something. Kim, good morning, sir. Good morning. Welcome. Yeah, I expect Milan to turn it around, Husney. I genuinely do. I think in this San Siro, again, in the Netherlands, they wanted it more than us. If we turn around, if we turn up like that, and that we don't want it, then okay, we'll deserve to lose and to go out and to be absolutely humiliated. To go out in the Champions League at this stage would be probably one of the worst humiliations that this club has taken in a few seasons. That's my opinion. We've got no choice here. We're playing
John,
with fire.
If we were to crash out the Champions League and we get beaten again, or if it's a draw and they go through, I don't think it's, of course it's bad, but it's not that bad, because at least we can concentrate on the league. I mean, we need to make top 4, right? Even if we make the semi-finals of the Champions League and we don't get top 4, it's pretty much still a disaster. So yeah, if I was given the choice and if this team had to choose, focus on the league.
I think they've got. Okay, Hasni, now that there's no dropping out into the Europa League, right? I think the goals are make it to the knockout phase. This is not the knockout phase, Hasni. Make it to the knockout phase of the Champions League minimum. Honestly, that's what I think has been set. And then top 4. They all have to be done. Either one happens, then something enormous is happening in the summer in terms of having to make up for those revenues. That's my opinion. So I think, as typical, this club are going to pull it out the fire. I think Feyenoord are not all that. Yes, Paxao is going to have a bit of fun down that wing. Conceição has to resolve that problem. He has to understand how to do it. But we're limited in the players we can put out. Morning, Art. Nice to see you, mate. And Pete, well done. Awesome. Great time for us Australians. Well, that's why we do it. It's not also for the reason that my family are asleep at this time in the morning, so it's a good time to be doing these podcasts. But yeah, glad that it fits for you. Really glad. Yeah, Husney, listen, I understand what you're saying. Like you're saying, top four is all costs. There's no other way. I agree on that, but I also think that they are desperate for those revenues. We lost massive revenues by not making out to the knockout immediately. We have to make it through this. And Feyenoord are really, really not a good opponent. I will admit I was overly confident in us beating them in the first leg and getting it out of the way. I don't know why I don't learn the lesson. The lesson is we never know which Milan is turning up, hasn't he? We all agree on this. We from day to day we have no idea, and we will lower ourselves to the standard of any opponent. We've proven that over and over again. I don't know. I'm hoping the San Siro, the atmosphere, and Hosni, seriously, I hope the red and black jersey shows up. Please, I don't want to see any more of this garbage. I've now seen, these weird Portuguese colors. I've seen a Uva shirt with mint green badge, pink socks. I can't stand it. We are Milan. For this important game, red and black. Home team. Make them afraid. Make them realize what they're up against. Beat them. Get them out the way. Wipe them aside. Yeah, Pete agrees with you, hasn't he? Focus on league and drop everything else. Okay. Again, I understand it. The fear of missing out top four and the fear of missing out in Champions League altogether for a club like us after a few years of making it are severe. That's our fear, is missing out in that competition. I think for ownership, the fear is missing out on revenues.
But John, it's more than that. So if you look at the table and the number of points that separate the fourth position all the way until eighth, if we do really badly, we might not even be in Europe. That's how dire the situation is, by the way.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It is touch and go. I mean, let's go back to the table. Bologna on 41, Milan 41, Fiorentina 42, Juventus 43. It could be, theoretically, this could come down to the very last game of the season. It could be quite something. Yeah, it could be quite something. Right, so let's talk about this. And Husney pointed this out, and I think if Shane was here, he'd have a field day. I don't know why the Italy and the Spanish flag have been swapped. This is unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. It's doing my head in to see.
Where did you get this, John? From Gazzetta, is it?
I can't remember. I think it was from the Gazzetta. So it's kind of shocking because to see the Spanish flag and it's saying Italia, it's breaking me. But what this table is the score coefficient at the moment. This is a live table. So we're going to update this pretty much every time we've got European fixtures, which for us, it might be the last time. But see this dotted line here? This dotted line indicates that the top two leagues are the only ones that are going to get 5 places in the Champions League. And this week, both Atalanta and Milan lost, so we did not contribute to the points total, and we dropped below Spain. Just forget the flags. So the big thing to say here is absolutely we can turn this around if we beat Feyenoord, Atalanta, if they turn it around against Bruges, we can turn this around. But we have to remember only the top 2 leagues at 5 places. And that is why don't rely on this. It's all about top 4 in the league. Don't rely on this at all. The likelihood is that there are 2 Spanish clubs that have made it automatically into the last 16 already. Yeah. Real Madrid have beaten Man City. away from home as well. They've beaten them 3-2. And, we've got, if we go through, even if we go through against Feyenoord, there's going to be a draw. The teams are going to be picked out of a hat. And the two possible outcomes for us are either Arsenal or Inter. So again, if there's an Italian clash, it means that we're going to be losing points in this league standing, which just don't count on the top 5, okay? No, I think Atalanta, out of all of them, are most likely to turn it around, even more
Hang on,
than
John.
us.
If we
Yeah,
play an Italian team, okay, let's say we beat Feynoord and we make it
yeah,
to the last 16, and we play an Italian team,
yeah.
doesn't that guarantee another Italian team going up to the semis?
Yeah,
Is
it
it semis or
guarantees
quarters?
one
Yeah.
quarters. It guarantees one Italian team
Isn't
goes
that
with the
better
quarter.
chance than
None.
possibly losing at the
Yeah,
last
but I
16?
mean, so look at the English league. They're gone. Okay, 20.89. It's all about us and Spain here, and the thing is, it's most likely Spain are going to have at the very minimum 3 teams that are going to compete to go through. I just can't see it, Husney. I can't see. As the Italian press says, it's still possible to turn this around. Okay, so we just keep an eye on this table. We'll do this every week. We'll just add it to our list of. But I'm not. I'm cutting off the flags. All right, I'm cutting them off. This is hurting my head. All right, you can take me off the shared screen. Right, what's the message for the final game from you, Husney?
Yeah, we got to beat them. But I'm also conscious of how we beat them. I want to win, but I don't want like 2 or 3 players or even one of our attackers are injured because we're gonna need them for the league. And I was just looking at our fixtures. So our Copa game isn't for it's I think mid-March, so we still have about another month to go. But
Right.
with the momentum, yeah, dare I say momentum, with the momentum that we have in the league, we should, we can't accept any draws. We can't, of course, we can't accept any losses. We really have to get that points, make up for the 4th place. And seeing as how inconsistent some of the other teams around us are, it is possible, by the way, that we actually do solidify our 4th place if we do take care of business. If we don't take care of business, we're going to end up in another mess. So some of the other teams that we have that we're playing, Torino, Bologna,
Mm, mm.
Lazio. So that will be quite a big decider. If we beat Lazio,
Mate,
uh,
Bologna's a tough game, hasn't he? Bologna
it
is
is. It
also
is.
decider.
Yeah. So I think our top 4 ambitions, maybe a bit of a stretch, might be decided in the next 3 games. What do you think?
That's a great take. I think, we are basically facing the teams that we're trying to catch up to, and the Lazio game. Like, for us to put a run together of wins against clubs like that would demonstrate a lot. I don't know. I'm going to take it one game at a time. The next game is Feyenoord. I want us to beat Feyenoord in the San Siro. I want Reed to really swallow his words. I would love Leao to put in one of his magical performances. However frustrated I am with him, we would then have to reassess. So if we go through, we have to reassess Hasni, the Champions League list squad. Things have to change. We don't have enough players. The Champions League roster is too short at the moment. So that's the first problem. Now, in the league, I see every one of those games extremely difficult. For us to break down a Torino, they gave Bologna a good game. So for us to break down a Torino is going to be tough. For us to beat Bologna, a team that have way, way exceeded my expectations after all the losses they had, all of the managerial player losses they had.
John, are you there? Oh, I hope there's not a connection issue. If you can hear me, give us a few
Yeah? Can you hear me now, Hasni?
Yeah, I can. You're back.
Oh, it was a connection. It definitely said connection issue. So sorry, guys, if I got cut off. Yeah, no, Torino, Bologna, Lazio, very, very tough games. If we were to win all of them, I think we're definitely heading for top four. That's a huge if, however. I don't know what formation, I don't know which player combination is the best. Perhaps I don't see Conceição going with that, the so called Fantastic Four um, in the league very often. I think it might need a little bit of a different work ethic when these players are together. I think Santi Jimenez has already established his place. He's going to stay as a striker. Yeah, I choked on a banana. And I don't know about.
John, I just want to
Yeah.
add the team. So I'm looking at the table now.
Yeah.
In terms of the big opponents, yeah, so we were playing several teams, but I just want to point out some of the big opponents. Bologna, we were playing twice. We were playing Napoli, Fiorentina, Atalanta,
Wow.
Roma, but that's it. All these teams, don't know about Napoli though. Because they probably were fighting for the Scudetto at that point. We should be able to actually come away with something. So keep that in mind. Yeah, the way that I see it, if we, depending on, of course, on the results of the other teams, if we have a bit of solid footing in that top four, I really want us to win the Copa. We're not too far away. I think we can do it.
The Coppa d'Italia, really? Is that?
Yeah, we haven't won it in a long time, by the way. We should really go for it.
Oh well, I mean, Ibrahimovic said that it is an objective of ours. So if what he says must go, since he's our post-game Redbird advisor that speaks on behalf of the club. So what he says must be true, and hopefully he can then afford a bit of a shampoo and a bit of a do with his hair. Oh, have we just had a bit of a bot? I think we have.
Yeah, we have a bot. I'm.
Yeah,
I guess you must be doing something right.
Try reloading the page. I don't know what's going on, mate. Anyway, yeah. Pete makes a great point, which is he doesn't know, after watching Lazio Napoli, both teams are well organized. It can happen that we beat these teams, but we're playing at trash. I'm not arguing with any of that. We just... Okay, I was asking myself at half time, and I was going to ask you this as well, Hasni. What is the Milan style? Because I can't tell. It still seems to be, to me, is launch the ball to these guys and hope that it bounces to one of them and they do something magical. I don't see a pattern of play.
I'm starting to see something, and that is maybe a Conceição instruction. Pass it to Felix, and Felix will dictate the attacking play. Because if you see how Felix is dropping a bit deeper, and how he's crossing it and looking for the gaps, he's not going he's not going for goal too much anymore. So I think maybe there's a bit of a tactical instruction there.
I think the stuff being dropped about Felix, about the club wanting to keep him, I think this is to prepare the fan base for Theo's sale. I really do. I think there's a bit of narrative going on there to kind of make the fans go, oh, well, Theo's crap, let's just get rid of him and make money. I genuinely don't know if in the longer term, under the right ownership, Theo would give us a lot more. I think in the current system, he's not. He's given up. And I think most of the fan base have resigned to the fact that Theo will be sold in the summer, since we're at that topic at the moment. But I don't think Felix stays either. He would have to do something incredible to... Chelsea are not going to take crap money for him.
Yeah, if you remember the Giroud deal, they still charged us something for him, right? So they're probably going to fleece us somehow.
Yeah. Oh, look, Andon's in the chat. Hello, Andon. We struggle against close teams that defend with 10 players. Yeah, there was a discussion last week, wasn't it, that you needed... Felix was going to be the player to be able to unlock teams. But Felix has to be surrounded by other players of a particular quality in order to do that on his own. You remember, hasn't he? On his own, he can't do it. So he's part of that way to unlock clubs, but I don't think he's the only answer. And you just can't, as you said, the fear is what happens if Walker gets injured. I think Alex Jimenez, and I wanted your opinion on this because I didn't get it earlier. What do you think of him? Because I think he's starting to look really, really solid, man.
He is, but my concern, not about his ability because it's there. My concern is about how much game time he actually gets. Because the way that I see it, Conceição, he's not willing to take a risk anymore. He says he's done. He needs to achieve his objectives. He's going to put the strongest lineup each and every game, which I somehow get. So I'm just concerned about how much time Jimenez gets. When he came on as a sub, I thought he did quite well even as a sub. So does he need to be a starter? Maybe not. If he can really produce that sort of performance as a sub, it's quite all right. But let's just put it all in context. Yesterday was against Verona. How about the bigger teams? Some of the names that I mentioned just now. That is going to be the real test, and whether Jimenez can pull it off.
Yeah, hasn't he? I mean, other better teams, and to Pete's point here, better teams are not going to be there for 45 minutes, enabling us to play with basically 10 men. Yeah, just waiting there 0-0 because they can't really get an attack forward. Better teams will take an advantage of a Milan that is so passive and score 1, 2, or 3 goals and be gone by half time. And Conceição will not be able to continuously rescue everything by bringing on subs at half time like that. So, Pete, I completely agree with you, mate. No one is afraid of facing Milan these days. No one. They know you attack Milan, there is a soft centre. And I don't just mean by a soft midfield. I mean there is just a softness to the players themselves. I would like to see some steel. I would like to see a little bit more guts. I would like to see the kind of behavior that we see in our intro, in our outro, that kind of attitude, which is, you're wearing this shirt. Let's put everything on the line for that shirt. My opinion is you've got
Which
players.
shirt, John? The shirt yesterday?
Mate, no, Paul, I'm sorry. I want to make a comment about that shirt yesterday. Why did you bring this up, Husney? You're just trying, like, honestly, you're like Shane. You're just pushing my buttons. I hate that shirt. I hate the other shirt in the away game against Feynoord. I hate this red, green, BS, garbage. No, stop. Just stop. Stop trying to sell these shite colours, limited edition. Was it off-white? Get off-white off Milan. Yeah? It shouldn't be called off-white. It should be called off Milan. And Husney, stop buying them. You're the one that's doing this. Just stop it now. God's sake. Hate them. Hate these shirts. Oh, you set me off, man. You did that on purpose. Yeah, red and black. Raged. I
don't know where the green. You made a point about that. About the green. Where is this green coming from? The shirt yesterday reminded a bit of the Sassuolo shirt, and I thought like, the green and black.
Bro, I think this is something to do with. Oh God, I'm not gonna put my foot in it. I think this is something to do with Africa. I really do think. Yeah, I think it's something to do with that. I'm not sure. Again, I don't read the marketing crap because if the Milan marketing team, I want to slap them in the face. Right? I hate all these shirts. I really don't like it. And against Feyenoord, red and black, please. Milan is Milan. Let's smash the living daylights out of them. That's what I want to see. But that Grinta, Husney, that Grinta is on that bench. The scary thing about it. Yeah? Grinta. No. Grinta. Not Green-ta. No. It is on that bench, man. Bloody hell. Okay. This is like, oh shit. I think if Shane was here, he'd be like, so Italy's changed its flag and and we have a green shirt. Like, no. Not having any of this. I'm not having any of this. I don't want to see those shirts again, ever again. I can't understand why that grey shirt is being rolled out, mate. They're not selling enough, isn't it?
By the way, I know they need another shirt to sell, but it would have been nice if we just use our 125th year shirt more often.
Agreed. In fact, why don't we play it at home? Probably not allowed. I don't know. I don't know if they're allowed to wear it in the. Probably they're not allowed to wear it in the Feyenoord game, but it would be cool to see it in the league. Super cool for the season. Why not wear that as the home kit? Yeah, that would really be cool for me. Okay, right. Rage over, Hasni. Stop. Let's not talk about shirts anymore. I was not impressed. Not impressed at all. And I will not be buying it. I know you will. I know Gio will. You'll probably be buying 10, Gio. Giving them out to your mates over there in the US. Anyway, Kachavit, don't go buying those shirts. All right? Yeah, and Fahadinho, not using Milan's colours is bad for branding and image of the club. Listen, man.
Fulani wants the green for the dollars. That's what he wants.
That's the green. That's for him. Yeah, and also he wants boss chart. That's what Fahadinho wants. Furlani wants removal of Conceição in the summer and boss chart to come in, because that would be literally perfect. Imagine that. Yeah, I think Hasni, I think you're mate, you're supplying them to the whole of Malaysia, mate. That's what I think you're doing, mate. All right, I think so. Best of luck for the match, guys. Forza Milan, as always. Never back down. Guys, we need to win this game. I know what you're saying about focusing on top four. I'm not going to take a defeat to Feyenoord well. I really won't. Nobody wants an angry gorilla in the next pod. We want a happy gorilla. So let's beat them. Wear red and black. Let's win.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to those who joined us in the chat. Yeah, from several time zones. I'm just coming from the most recent chat. Pete, Andon, Carmelo. Who else we have here? Fahadino. Kim was here for a while. Yep.
Yeah.
So thanks to everyone. Sorry if I missed out. And yeah, we're looking to bring you great content every week. Again, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can listen to us in the car. You don't have to catch us on YouTube. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I upload the episodes right after each time we were done. Yeah, and if you can drop us a message, our Instagram, we're checking it. And so our X account, I think Shane is handling that one. But yeah, other than that, you can drop us a comment on our YouTube page and video as well in the comment section. So thanks, John. Always great to speak to you every week. And to those in the chat, everyone around the world, Forza Milan, as always.
Forza Milan, ciao a tutti.
Che comunque il calcio è imprevedibile e le cose non sono mai scontate, quindi è anche la bellezza, no, di questo sport.
Io rappresentavo per questa squadra, era quello che non mollava mai, quello che doveva fare stare sempre sul morale, ma io mi ci trovavo bene perché sono sempre stato uno che mi piaceva dare fuoco ai miei compagni, incaricarli prima delle partite.
Il mio sogno si è avverato, è uno dei sogni dei bambini, di tanti bambini.
È un qualcosa per la gente che riusciamo a fare diventare matti, riusciamo a fare diventare felici e contenti.
Con questa maglia devo veramente fare una performance diversa.